Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone. Oops, I gotta update the score. It's still from the same from last time, but hello, everyone, to the second match of the tournament. We will be having. Let's see, who are the players this time? Top screen. Okay, so we will be having a Raully Peaceful Godzilla versus the Mentees. And if you don't know who those are, we have a Raully Peaceful Godzilla, which is going to be Nedved, Pax, and Raul. Kind of an interesting team, to be honest. And then they're going up against the Mentees, which is Thunderhorse, Andrei, and Drunk. Now, when Thunderhorse, Andrei, and Drunk got together, that looked like a pretty solid team. Everyone was kind of cheering them on, so I'm kind of interested to see what they can do. But I don't want to talk too much because we are a little bit late. So I want to start it as soon as possible so the players can get started.
Yeah, Eskimo Joe here. I'll be co-casting with Nova. Looking forward to some good games.
Okay, everyone's ready, so let's go. The players are excited. They can't wait to start. Okay, so now we can talk more comfortably. I was a little bit rushed, you know, trying to get everything ready, but okay. So let's talk about the match now. We do have the matchup screenshot as well, and let's talk a little bit about that. It is going to be Terran, Protoss, Terran from a Raully Peaceful Godzilla, so Nedved's team, and they're going to be up against Zerg, Terran from the Mentees. So the matchup is Terran, Protoss, Terran up against Zerg, Terran. And I gotta say, man, whenever there's a Protoss against a Zerg, I see the Protoss side winning. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like this matchup right here. It's different than what we saw yesterday. We have a Zerg in this game, which I like. Looking at the matchups, I think this favors the TPT team, just because I just think Terran can really neutralize the Zerg in these games if played right, and then the Protoss can manage against the Terran because there's no PT stack.
I mean, Zerg versus Terran is kind of an interesting matchup because it like whoever is winning, it feels like it changes from time to time. Like, you know, Zerg has like a little bit of a harder time at the beginning, but then it kind of gets to a point where it feels like the Zerg can't lose, right? Like if there's no leak, the Zerg is just gonna wreck the Terran. So it is kind of an interesting matchup. I'm kind of curious to see, and it is a refresher because there was no Zerg last match. So this is the first time we're seeing Zerg, and we are going to start with some Ravagers from Thunderhorse, so very interesting. Also, yeah, good thing to point out, Thunderhorse is the Zerg player, while the... who's this? Is this Pax? No, I believe this is Raul. Okay, so yeah, the barcode, Mr. Barcode here is Raul, and he's the one that's going to be playing the Protoss. Have you seen Raul playing Protoss?
No, I don't even think I've played any games with Raul before.
Yeah,
I don't even think I've seen him play.
Yeah, no, I can't remember a game with Raul either. But two T2s, one T2 from Blue, so Blue is going to be T2. Actually, he canceled it. And then a T2 from Nedved, which I think no one's kind of surprised to see Nedved going T2, right? He likes to go Lib Raven. It's his favorite composition. He does go Terran from time to time, like bio unit, but like he doesn't do it very often. And here we have Thunderhorse with his Hydra Ravager. And now I gotta say though, Thunder Ravager is pretty good against Lib Raven, I think.
I mean, I think Nedved is very confident in his T2 play against any race. So I think it's not a big surprise that he's going T2 versus Thunderhorse. It's going to be interesting to see how this battle unfolds. But right now, bottom team has the momentum, so we will see.
I like this concave from Pax. It's pretty good, but he has so many Marines that on a clean wave, I think Drunk can beat Pax's army. So I'm kind of interested to see where this is going, because on clean waves, it's still looking very good for the top team, and now we are going to get a clean wave. Now let's see how good the bios are from Thunderhorse. One lands on the... it's not bad bios. They kind of landed on different things, but it's gonna be enough to clear. And now there's a lot of Hydras, and if there's one thing that Protoss can't do very well, it's clean leaks.
Yeah, I mean, it really has to be a clean wave versus wave scenario for Protoss to really dominate a T1 Terran.
Okay, Andrei skipping +1 still manages to win just because of the leak, but he did skip +1 attack. So he's gonna use that lead to, instead of getting attack upgrades, he's gonna use the lead to get even more units and then get the attack upgrade. Kind of interested development. Drunk is going to clean Pax's wave very comfortably. Okay, but look at this. Nedved is very spread with those libs, and that is kind of good because you can avoid the bios, but at the same time, you can see that he's kind of struggling to control the Liberators just because they're so spread out. Okay, now Thunderhorse with an Infestor. That Shroud, beautiful Shroud, covers the Hydras, and yep, everything's gonna go down. I don't know, man. Like, I do think that the Hydra Ravager is kind of favored versus the Lib Raven at the start of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is going to come down to positioning from Nedved. If Nedved is able to position his army and stack with the next wave, could be very strong.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what they're trying to do, right? Like, you can see that Raul is moving all his units to the front, so they are going to attempt something different. Okay, and Drunk should be able to clear this no problem. Drunk, a little bit of an upgrade deficiency, but still manages to win just because of the leak is so strong.
So this is kind of like where Nedved wants to be. He wants to be around the cannon where he can use it to his advantage. But he's not quite there yet. But that could be very dangerous if he's able to get that kind of positioning with those Libs and Ravens.
Yeah, but with this amount of units, I can't really see him getting that far. What I think, it's like they're gonna try to stack more at the Nexus than the cannon. It seems like they just forewent like all the beginning, like all the first 5 minutes. Like, okay, we're gonna lose for 5 to 10 minutes, but then at the 10-minute mark, or around that time, we're gonna go and get a huge Lib stack and just take the game from there. Now, it's gonna be up to the Mentees to stop that from happening. And so far, they're getting their mineral advantage, but no one's gassing yet, which is also interesting.
I do think that the longer that the bottom team is able to keep the cannon from falling, the stronger Nedved's game will be towards the end game.
Yeah, that's a great point. But this is a lot of Ravens? I'm not sure you want this many Ravens. Maybe you can talk to me a little bit more about that Raven count?
Well, Ravens are strong versus Hydras and Ravagers, but not so much Mutalisks. Mutalisks just kind of tend to pick them off. So, I think the play is actually more Liberators to snipe the Mutalisk and then siege on the ground units. So it's a slippery slope, and I'm just curious to kind of see how this unfolds late game with that. And I think Nedved is definitely a player that's capable of doing that because he's played it so many times.
This is Nedved's bread and butter. He literally plays in-house and he does this like 80 to 90% of the time, I would say.
Right. So, I mean, if there's anyone that can pull this off, it is Nedved because he's done it so many times.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I would like to see him like pre-throw some Raven turrets. Like, just throwing the Raven, all the Raven turrets in front of the Ravagers, is that really the best play? Like, couldn't you get a little bit more value if you preemptively shoot the turrets?
I think so, because if you do that, then you'll get another shot off quicker if you pre-shoot them. So you could probably definitely get more value. But I mean, this is a very good hold from the bottom team. I'm sure that Nedved will be getting T3 Liberators soon. And we probably will see a BC to tank.
Yeah,
but the problem is that there's 2 Terran, and that's going to be kind of hard to break. But Drunk, the blue Terran, doesn't really have much anti-air. Mostly Marauder Reaper heavy.
Well, he is starting to add Marines now that the bunker went down, and I'm very curious to see if he's also going to start adding, say, some Vikings, maybe. Like, we can see Thunderhorse is really focusing on that anti-air with the Mutalisk and Corruptors. He's just trying to counter that air. I would also like to see a couple of Banelings from Thunderhorse. Oh, he did add some Banelings. Okay, that's great. He's adding all the right units to stop the Nedved from stacking, right? Like, he's going so Raven heavy that Banes can just annihilate the turrets as soon as they come online, and then the Mutalisk and Hydras can clean the Raven lib.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to come down to Liberators.
Yeah, but he hasn't added any more. He just made 3 and then has just made more and more Ravens.
So it could be that he's just trying to buy time with the Ravens. Maybe he wants to get a battle cruiser later to start tanking the shots.
Okay.
This is Nedved's game, right? This is what he does. So
yeah, the game so far is going into Nedved's direction, right? Like, this is the kind of game he likes to play. He waits until the 10-minute mark. He makes the Protoss behind them stack with the Stalkers, blink front, so to protect and catch the Liberators. So kind of usually we see a Zerg trying to catch the Terran, but Nedved has been doing like a Protoss catching the Terran, and instead of with Lings and Mutas, he tries to catch them with Blink Stalkers. Now Blink Stalkers a little bit glass cannony, right? Like they're not the strongest unit there is. They are getting sort of a stack, but you gotta remember, like, okay, so they only need this stack to work once. Like, basically, once this works once, they are going to have the advantage for a very long time, and I don't think they're gonna they're gonna let it go.
That's all it takes. Nedved is a master of the timing of playing in this style. So
yeah,
I would like to see some maybe Archons or Phoenix from the pink Protoss for support.
Yeah, it did seem like the Liberators were going to be able to survive, but Thunderhorse had enough Mutas to clean the Liberators. But like I said, it's only a matter of time. But I will say, like, they're on a window, right? Like, I don't think you can come back, let's say, like 18 minutes. I think it's going to be very hard for them to come back. So they do want to come back in the next 2 to 3 minutes, very likely.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if a BC comes out later, maybe to tank later on against the Zerg wave. See if that'll make a difference.
He's on 1 armor. Okay, not the best sieges, I think, but good enough. Yeah, but the Liberators are naked against the Mutas. The Mutas just clean all of the Liberators. Another stack has been prevented successfully from the Mentees, the team that everyone was saying was looking really strong. Andrei, Thunderhorse, and Drunk, right? Like,
those were some good shots by Raul, but the bio is just too heavy.
yeah, and Pax is so Marine heavy. And now Drunk has a lot of Marauders, he has Reapers, he has all the things, but he's starting to add Ghosts. And I'm pretty sure this Ghost is to try to EMP the Ravens from Nedved, because Nedved has so many Ravens. Look at this, 9 Ravens. 1 good EMP off, and Thunderhorse is going to have a lot of an easier time, but the EMP, I think, missed.
Well, the thing is, I think if Nedved can stack all of this just on top or a little behind the Nexus, could be really, really dangerous with that Protoss support. And I'm sure that's what he's looking to do.
That's actually a great point. Like, I kind of wish that Pax would die a little bit quicker so that Nedved could try to stack on the Nexus instead of at the middle. Because this stacking at the middle thing isn't really working. Oh, those blinding clouds. They covered so many Marines. That's crazy. But I think it's 13 minutes, and you can see that the Mentees are feeling very confident. They all have a gas now. They took the cannon. They all have, like, kind of the units they want to have. Like, you can see that Drunk is adding Ghost, Andrei is adding Liberator, so they're all kind of having the ideal army composition from their side. And I still haven't seen a single Liberator survive into another wave.
Well, that's what they're kind of pretty much pinning their hopes on for this game, because this is their saving grace. Now, this wave could be dangerous right here. There are some Phoenixes out to tank the Liberators.
Okay, now Liberators, this is a lot of Libs still alive. As I was saying that no Liberators were surviving, now there's 7 still alive. But yeah, I don't know. Andrei's army looks pretty tough. But I don't think Andrei can clear with the Libs.
No, he cannot. There's no Thors, there's no Vikings. The Libs are going to hang around. Let's see how much damage it does to the Terran wave.
Okay, so
those are really good sieges right there.
Yeah, Pax needs to clean this up right here, right now. And I think he's gonna be able to. The single one Marine shooting endlessly there.
Okay, this is almost dead even. Just a few Marauders leaked.
Okay, but now this is the actual test, right? Like, can Nedved clean his own wave? Otherwise, he's going to be sent back to trying to stack.
Okay, Nedved did a good job with the Zerg there. So many Corruptors.
Yeah, man, and this is not gonna be enough. Raul needs a lot of help to be able to clear the Terran. Now, Andrei even having his own Thor. So this is actually a very strong wave from Andrei. It's gonna be very hard to clear him. I don't think Raul has the necessary tools to be able to deal with it. He's gonna need a lot of Libs to stack to help him. And I'm not sure that's happening yet.
And now we're starting to see the big units come out. We're starting to see the Thors come out, which is very scary and kind of the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, the anti-armor missile there was fantastic. Drunk was just able to deal with Pax's wave so easily. And as you said, now the big daddy Thors are out.
Right, and now they have a Zerg following that's able to abduct them if they need to save them.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see Thunderhorse's micro, see if he's up to par, because, yeah, he's going to have to micro those Vipers, he has to micro the Ravagers, he has to micro the Infestors. There's so many things in the Zerg army that you really have to micro all the time. It really puts a stress, it's kind of stressful, right? Like, there's so many things to micro. I wonder how good Thunderhorse's performance is going to be here.
Yeah, Thunderhorse is doing a really good job of preventing the Lib stack. Buying his team enough time to tech and get Thors. And now we just see the Thor count rising and rising and rising. It's just going to get more ominous.
Okay, let's see. There's a Ghost. Okay, gets an EMP on 2 Ravens, so that's not a big deal. Some Marines spread out to the side. Are they going to be able to clear some Libs? Okay,
good abduct there.
Yeah, nice abduct there, definitely. And then the Biles. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We have a BC out, but I don't think it's going to do that much now that there's Thors on the field.
And there's so many Corruptors from Thunderhorse, right? Like, he's really not missing a beat. He has +3 air attack. Wow. Crazy. Okay, this is a big Stalker stack, but oh man, look at that anti-armor missile. The whole army is blanketed in red.
Yeah, that was a pretty brutal line of anti-armor missiles.
I will say though, I wish Drunk made a little bit more bio because Pax has so much bio unit, and a Drunk has Thors, which aren't great versus bio, and Ravens and Ghost, which also aren't great versus bio. So I'd like to see him add just a little bit, couple more lines of bio. Like, I don't see why you have to make so little bio. It is kind of dangerous, but it's just that these Liberators, man, they haven't had the chance to stack. They keep getting cleared by Mutas, by Corruptors. And there was that one wave where they did stack, but then they... Andrei was able to clear that wave. And like
so, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the problem with double Terran late game. It's just very, very hard to break. Once it starts getting like past the 15-minute mark and you've had the middle this long, it just becomes just more and more strong, like just unbreakable almost.
Yeah, and you can see that they're feeling very confident. You can look at their gas count to determine like how they're feeling, right? If they're feeling stressed, they won't have any gases. If they're feeling very good, they'll have 2 gases. And you can see the gas count from the Mentees. It's right now it's 5-2, which is really strong for them.
Yeah, you know, these Thors are not dying. They're surviving. It's giving Thunder the chance to abduct and stack with them, adding more damage to the air.
Okay, and yeah, and I said that Nedved's team, they have to come back by the 18-minute mark, and we're right now almost approaching the 20-minute mark. This is looking very bad for them. The Mentees showing a really strong performance here. They just took middle and never let it go. They've been keeping the advantage all game long, and they haven't let Nedved's team stack at all. Like, it's so hard to prevent the stack from Nedved because it only has to happen once. Like, any one wave you slip up, like maybe the Nexus is too close and you're not able to clear 2 or 3 libs and suddenly you lost the whole game. But yeah, they've been able to do it, man. Like, props to them.
I think the thing is Zerg is just probably got to be the best race in the game at preventing the airstrike because they have so many powerful air units. I mean, and they are cheap, and they even, you know, they have splash damage, and it's just Zerg is just that one. It's, you know, one race that's just lethal against air stacks.
Man, look at the amount of Thors that Drunk has. Literally 7 Thors.
Yeah, these Thors are going to give those Liberators a lot of hurt, especially that many. Once you start seeing 1 row, 2 rows of Thors, it's just...
Yeah, and also the Vikings. I really like the Viking addition from Drunk. I think the Vikings are absolutely amazing. They give a little bit of extra vision. And they kind of just stay there because nothing really targets the Vikings, so they can just keep attacking the Liberators and preventing the stack. Okay, there's a lot of Corruptors being on the Nexus. Is this gonna go down? Yeah, it goes down actually. So Thunderhorse gets the job done. GG is called and the Mentees take game number 1. I gotta agree with you, man. Like, it's very predictable that if you go TTZ, the Terran that's before the Zerg is the one that goes T2. And you usually want the Terran to go T2, the one that's after the toss. And that is predictable, but man, I gotta say, it's so juicy to do it. Like, it feels so good to have a Zerg after you and a Protoss before you.
No, and you know what? That's all right, and it all makes sense. But sometimes, you know, not making sense of something can actually work in your favor. I don't think it's really good to follow a script either, right?
But I think it's gonna be very important, the CVC. Like, how strong is the CVC? How big of a leak is gonna come from the CVC? Because it is a little bit like, how do I say this? It's like a matchup where you can lose very strongly and leak so much.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that I think ZVZ probably has the most possibilities out of any other match and any other mirror match. I think.
Okay, instant T2 coming out of Pax. So we all know what Pax is gonna do, right? Like probably mute us. And no T2 coming out of Thunderhorse so far. Is he gonna go Queens? He is late, so he didn't T2. He's already gonna miss the first wave.
So he might be just waiting to see if Pax sends anything first. In lane 3, you have that luxury because you have much more time. And obviously, he doesn't have to worry about a lane rush, right?
Yeah, but the one that's going T2 is actually... Okay, so Drunk was going T2 and now he canceled his T2. So maybe some communication there going on. Like, okay, Drunk, please don't T2. So let's see what's gonna happen there. Okay, I think Nedved is going to be able to clean this. Nedved actually going bio this time. What do you think?
Ah, nice. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's you don't want players to keep predicting. Well, you're going to do what you usually do, right? You got to kind of mix it up. So I do like that.
Yeah, I like it as well. Okay, let's see the CVC. So nothing from Thunderhorse. Thunderhorse is going T2 now. I think everyone from the top team is going T2. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think this is very, very risky. Very risky.
Okay, Red canceled T2. He's just gonna add Marauder Reaper. So they might have just figured that out. Okay, and Drunk skips yet another wave. And he...
Wow.
You were saying that the bottom lane has the privilege of skipping the first wave. But man, if you're Terran versus Protoss and you're in the first lane, you can skip 2 waves, which is actually crazy because then you keep the Protoss on his toes, guessing what you're gonna build.
I think this is a mistake. I think skipping this many waves at lane 1 is very, very risky. You can lose the cannon from this.
Well, the cannon is still alive. It's almost dead, but it's still here. Okay, let's see.
So they both they both have. This is going to be fairly even, which I think this is going to favor the bottom team.
No, this is actually going to favor the top team because the top. Well, yeah, Pax has more.
No, I think this totally favors the bottom team.
Well, I was gonna say that the reason why I would say like it favors the top team is because Drunk is ahead. He's front, while Raul is at the back. So usually you can actually catch your mutas and help kill the other flock of mutas. But with that being said, it wasn't enough. It's for some reason like the middle advantage has been going in favor of the bottom team. So Pax was able to get just 1 or 2 more extra Mutalisk, and that when you have 1 or 2 extra Mutalisk against your opponent, you don't end up with 1 or 2 extra Mutalisk. You end up with like 5 or 6 extra Mutalisk at the end of the battle.
That's a huge moment right there. I think the problem is that since Pax units are in this corner right here, and he won his wave, it split the Terran, which was really, really bad for that PVT matchup.
Infestor shoot! Oh, the fungal kind of it hits.
Nice fungal.
It could have been better. It could have been way better. But the fact that he shot the fungal at all was better than not shooting it.
You know what? I actually thought that it might have gotten sniped and he would not have been able to land it. So at least he got it at the last like millisecond, right?
Yeah. Like I gotta give him that credit, right? Like at least he shot the fungal, and that fungal was very heavy. And I think Thunderhorse is gonna be very far behind now because the bunker got killed. He's behind on mutas. He's behind on tech as well because Pax is already teching out of mutalisks, right? He's starting to make Hydras and Infestors, and you know what comes after that soon? It's Ravagers, and yeah, the mutas just get worse and worse.
I'm a little surprised, to be honest. You know, I'm surprised. I was expecting Thunderhorse to go full queen. Because he waited and he saw the mutas, I was expecting something like a full queen. Like, but
Yeah.
he decided to take the mirror match head on. I was a little surprised by that.
Yeah, it feels like the Mentees are playing like kind of like more reactive than proactive, while in the Godzilla team is playing more proactive, right? Like they're setting the tone of the matchup. So the first game, they completely set the tone of the game. It didn't work in their favor, but they were the ones making all the plays while the opposite team was just reacting. And it feels like the same thing here. Like the top team is just reacting to what Nedved's team is doing, but this time it's not working out at all.
Yeah, Planetary Fortress took a lot of damage there from the bio. This is going to be very difficult to recover from for the top team.
Okay, so Pax is kind of committing way heavy to these amount of Hydras. So I do think Ravagers is the correct response coming out of Thunderhorse. If you have Ravagers, you can bio down the Hydras and suddenly all the Hydras are dead and you're looking really good. Or maybe you can even bio down the opponent's Mutalisks if they're clumped up. You can kill all of them. And suddenly you have a bunch of Mutas and Ravagers up against naked Hydras, which can be really strong. So I do like where Thunderhorse is taking this. But I'm not sure what their stacking army is going to be. Like, so far... Okay, now we see it. Andrei just sold.
Okay, we have a sell. So they're going to go for the Liberator Muta stack.
Yeah, the Planetary Fortress is taking some damage. It's almost at 25% HP. But they will get their stacking opportunity now. Let's see if they can. Some Liberators coming out of Drunk, but this is more like... You want some libs, right, against Toss, usually. Like, that is a normal thing to get.
Sure.
These aren't stacking libs, right? These are like average libs.
Yeah, these are just average libs, yeah. I don't know what to call them.
Now, these are the stacking libs, and then they're not tier 3 yet. So these are still average libs as well. They don't have advanced ballistics, and they don't have any armor upgrades. And Nedved doesn't really have any anti-air. Well, except these turrets, right? And actually, these turrets are going to be enough to clear. Never mind.
Really good anti-armor missile there from Nedved on the Mutas. Oh, yeah, he managed to get 2 off, it looked like.
So Pax misses all of the bios, but he has enough Roach Ravager to distract the opponent's Ravagers. So Pax is gonna basically clean his wave, losing almost nothing. Lands an insane fungal. Almost everything got fungal there from Drunk, so his army is like very small, and Raul is gonna be able to deal with this. That's actually great because Raul is going to have a hard time clearing his own wave. But the help of Pax is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, if he has one Infestor, that's put in a lot of work, right?
Just that one Infestor.
I would like to see Pax spread out his Mutalisks a little bit more so they're not so clumped up. And more suspect to a Ravager shot.
Oh, I think Nedved sold. Nedved sold a lot of units, and he went Mass Raven. And the Mass Raven is just dealing with the Liberators from Andrei, so I don't think he's letting Andrei have the opportunity to stack. And these anti-armor missiles that Nedved is landing is going to be amazing. Mutas really need those armor upgrades, so in Muta versus Muta, if you land an anti-armor missile on the opponent's Mutas, man, they're going to disappear very quickly. And you can see the Drunk's army is just gone at this point.
So this is interesting. So Nedved is going for some Raven control to micro those anti-armor missiles and just splash everything.
Okay, Andrei is just gonna get his 2-3. He's gonna purchase his advanced ballistic very soon, very likely. Nope, no advanced ballistic. Maybe he's gonna hide it, pretend he doesn't have T3 yet, and wait for the next wave.
A lot of Raven turrets and anti-armor missiles, and this is going to be very hard to get past.
Yeah,
a wall of turrets.
Nedved went bio, and then even when he goes bio, he sells into ravens. It's kind of hilarious.
Like, it's like this itch that has to scratch every game. Like, I have to have ravens, I have to have libs. Even if my bio is working, I have to have this. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I was saying yesterday. I mean, everybody has their style, right? It's just that's what makes the game interesting. You know, if everybody played exactly the same at a high level, it would just not be fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but this game is definitely one of those cases where it seems to be working really well. Now, I don't know about these Void Rays. What do you think about the Void Ray?
I don't think they're very good. I think they're expensive, and they just don't do enough to, I think, to be a real viable unit.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that, because they don't really attack Liberators. Like, you would ideally want the Void Rays to hit the Liberators, but they just start attacking anything else but the Libs. They're usually shooting at a Marine, they're usually shooting at a Hydra or a Muta, so it's really not worth getting, I think. But
it's a unit that just, yeah, just like you said, it's a unit that just doesn't do what you want it to do. It's like one of those units, right?
Yeah. Okay, now Raul is adding some Phoenix. Yeah, whenever you see your opponent getting more than 3 Ravens, so like 4 for example, usually you can get, okay, some High Templars, and the feedbacks are going to be amazing. If you get a Storm off, it's great as well. Okay, but now the Void Rays are doing their job. It's naked Liberators against Void Rays, and well, yeah, then they can do their job. They clean so easily. Look at this Raven count. 13 Ravens.
And there's just nothing the Zerg can do against that. It's just way too many. Yeah, I mean, Void Rays are really strong if there's nothing else to hit but what it's supposed to, right? That's it. Then sure, they're definitely really good.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. If there's only Libs, then sure, Void Rays are gonna work.
Yeah, if there's no Stalkers, no Marines, no Phoenix, no Mutas, and a bunch of other stuff, then it's good.
We can see that the top team is attempting the TC stack, but it's really not working out. Okay, 1 Immortal as well. And now there's a Battle Cruiser, but the Battle Cruiser is gonna go down to the Void Rays.
Now, yeah, Void Rays are very strong against BCs, and they usually attack them first, from what I've seen. So
I think the issue that the top team is having is that the Liberators are trying to stack, but what are they trying to stack against, right? Like, they're usually the waves they're up against is like mass Void Ray or it's mass Raven, so you don't really get a good opportunity to siege the Libs on something that they can stack on. This is still a pretty good mute account. Now the Marines are going to be able to clear, and there is a stack forming, right? There's every color here. There's some Hydras, there's a lot of Libs. Let's see if this is opportunity they were looking for. Protoss is really not strong against leaks. Protoss needs help, so that's a lot of turrets going down. But here's the problem with the Void Ray, right? It gets disabled.
They're just not going down. But I mean, look how many Ravens from Nedved. I mean,
yeah, that's an insane amount of turrets.
And he's got Thor. I mean, Nedved is the wall here.
Yeah, usually we see the cleanup crew being formed by like mass Marine, right? But this time from Nedved, it's mass Raven, and he gets the turrets twice, so that's so strong.
Yeah, I'd love to watch that, you know? I like to see that kind of unorthodox stuff. It's actually really refreshing.
Yeah, well, the Libs can attack the Ravens, right? Like, not optimally, so...
And there's just there's not enough Ravens to challenge that many Ravens on the other side. Even with a stack of them, it's just not enough.
Raul is adding even more Void Rays. He also has 1 Immortal, which I do like the Immortal. Immortal is really good. It helps cleaning the Thors. It helps cleaning the turrets, so I don't mind it. He kind of skipped Disruptors, which I don't mind that much either, because Disruptors are kind of a liability at this point. They're not really good against Liberators. They're not really good against, well, against one Thor, right? Usually if you have 3 Disruptors, you want to kill like 2 Thors at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that he skipped Disruptors for now. But I would like to see him get maybe Carriers.
Nice abduct there. Managed to save a Thor. That's just buried under all those Zerg units. It's gonna be nothing's gonna get to that.
Yeah, there's so much Zerg in front of the Thor.
Yeah, it's like very thick.
Okay, and we're getting close. We're 16 minutes, so we're getting close to the 18-minute mark, which is usually about the cutoff point where if you don't stack by then you're kind of screwed.
This could be game right here.
Well, the Void Race would have to siege on the Planetary Fortress, but they don't. They start attacking Libs.
Oh, barely.
But hey, man, now some couple of Disruptor shots.
A lot of Liberators. This is their chance, right? If there was ever a chance in this game, this is the chance. That is so many anti-armor missiles, jeez.
That is 10 Liberators. Okay, let's see how the Shrouds from Pax. Pax is not shrouding. All of the units from Pax are actually dying. His Shroud is just not there. And everything gets completely cleared. Pax. With a little bit of a mistake there. Now the Disruptor shot only gets 3 kills on Marines, which is not that great. And the whole Protoss army is going to go down. The Thors are going to be able to clear the Void Race. The Libs clean the ground unit. And it might be like the top team has done it. But they still have to clean the mighty wall of Nedved.
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of Liberators stacking, but Liberators do 0 damage versus ground turrets. So as scary as that army looked, against what Nedved has, it's just not going to do anything because he's got all these Ravens.
Yeah, Nedved just doesn't care about the Liberator stacking at all.
I mean, his whole army is basically an anti-lib stack army, right?
And that's exactly what he needs to have, because Andrei's not even stacking on Nedved per se, but he's like surviving up until the next time that Nedved comes around, and he's just not able to deal with Nedved's army. And we're approaching now the 18-minute mark, so this is kind of the cutoff point where now the mineral advantage is too much for the bottom team. They took Bunker. They have 5 gases to the 3 gases of the top team, and also having middle for like the whole game. I don't see the top team coming back from this. I think we're gonna get a 1-1.
Yeah, which is exciting. Now the momentum is going to swing in the other team's favorite, and we're going to be kind of back to square one, where anything can happen.
So many anti-armor missiles. The whole army of Thunderhorse is shining.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty cool, actually. Like, the glow.
Like shiny Pokemons. So many Vipers from Pax. Okay, and yeah, man, I gotta say, like, it's really hard to play as a Protoss against Terran leaks. Like, it feels really sad when you know you're kind of like the anchor in your team, where you're only good in the first 5 minutes and afterwards you're really bad, and you're just helping your opponent stack on you, and you can never clean anything. But Nedved just has been that like strong wall, just carrying Raul all the way. And it's not that Raul is playing bad by any means. It's just like that's the nature of this matchup, right? Like, the Protoss just has a hard time cleaning, but the Terran is the wall where it can clean with any leaks.
I mean, I think that we've been there and we know what that's like, and it's just
from every angle, right? We've been there from every angle.
The only thing we can really do is just try to do is lighten it and make as much damage as we can to the whatever's left or what's ever coming. That's about it.
Yeah, and then just pray your teammates carry you hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you need a Terran on your team, right?
Or 2.
2 is even better. Well, I think he's doing a good job clearing the Thors and taking away that energy from the Ravens.
Dude, 15 Ravens online.
Yeah, there's so many overlapping them. They just look like 3.
Yeah, and the Ravagers do like that. So the Ravagers are getting the chance to bow down all the Ravens at once. Which is, as a Zerg, it's pretty satisfying watching that many Ravens die. It's like, yeah, screw you, Terrans. So it feels really good. But then comes the Ultras from Pax. Pax is just like the ideal CVC army where it's like, you have Mutalisks, you have Infestors, you have Mass Ravager, you have Ultras. Like, you have the ideal Zerg army.
And now the bottom team is at 8 gas and top is 3. So huge mineral advantage there. And I think at this point the bottom team can pretty much add whatever they want to their armies and still be in good shape.
Well, we're approaching the 22-minute mark, so very soon we're going to start getting into that tier 4 category. The top team still hasn't managed to get a stack going. Like, nothing is surviving. Even if it survives, then Nedved just clears everything. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is looking really good for Godzilla. I think they're going to be able to get a score. And it's actually going to be very interesting because I wonder if we're going to get a PVZ, right? Like, both teams, one of the teams has been playing Zerg and the other team has been playing Toss. If those waves line up, like, if the Protons and Zerg line up in a match, I really favor the Toss to win that game. And then suddenly it's a 2-1, and you're just one game away from winning the match. And it's going to be really good for Nedved's team.
Well, I think what's cool is I think most of these players here can play all the races fairly well. Of course, some are more specialized than others, so it's very hard to predict what they'll choose for this next game. And yeah, I mean it's kind of like a roll of the dice almost. You want to try to get the best matchup you could possibly get, and use it to your advantage.
Dude, the anti-armor missile on the Ultras is also kind of devastating because the Ultras go from having an insane amount of armor to having next to no armor. And with Hydras... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you want to hit a massive unit with it, like, right, because of all the HP they have and armor. So, it makes sense to do that.
Mass feedback on the Ravens. There's just not a lot to say anymore. It feels like this is death by 1,000 cuts. Like, the mineral the way that the bottom team, the Mentees, is handling this is that they're gassing. It's like, okay, so when we're ahead, let's get further ahead. Maybe you delay the game. You don't really get the kill that quickly. But make no mistake, right? Like, they're on 8 gas against the 3 gas of the Mentees. They're so far ahead. They've had middle the whole game. They killed the bunker. Like, everything is going in their favor right now. So,
I wonder if we're going to see Nedved add some Liberators.
So yeah, I might be acting like, okay, this game is already over, or maybe the Mentees have a chance. I don't think so right now. Just because the bottom team hasn't won yet doesn't mean that they haven't won yet, kind of. Like, I feel like they're kind of already won and they're just playing around, making sure they get the win. It's a tournament. You don't want to throw a game by making too many units and not gassing at everything. You do really want to take your advantages. Like, as you can see, they're gassing really heavily and stuff. But
I think these Thors, I mean, these Immortals are gonna
There's a lot of Thors in front of the Planetary Fortress, so the Immortals aren't gonna get the kill yet. But we are at the 24-minute mark, and we already see 3 players are gonna go T4 instantly.
I'd actually like to see Raul start adding disruptors because he's getting close enough to where he could do damage with them. And they have plenty of income and everything they need to hold it. But you see, the top team is kind of, even though they're in this losing position, they're kind of grinding out the other team. Maybe they're trying to squeeze them, exhaust them, and just trying to let them know that we're a hard team, and you're going to have to earn every single piece of this battlefield, right?
Yeah, usually when you win game 1, you feel like really confident. It's like, oh, we won game 1, we can totally do this. We're the better team, you know? That's what it feels like. Like, it kind of goes into your head. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing great. And then, like, you see the team slapping you on game number 2. It's like 1-1. It's like, okay. Like, you know, you get humbled a little bit. It's like, okay, maybe we are on an equal footing. I don't have the advantage I thought I had going into this. Especially, like, last game where it looked so one-sided. But now this game looks one-sided, right? So, like...
Yes.
The confidence just goes down a little bit. You get humbled.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, like I said at the beginning of this tournament, is that you can't underestimate any of these teams. All of them have, you know, played Direct Strike. They're all experienced. They have lots of games they put in, and they've played with a lot of experienced players. So I can't count any of them out. You can't just say, well, we have by face value a better team. We're going to win. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, every player here, I believe, like, Nedved has been playing for years, Drunk has been playing for years, Thunder has been playing for a long time, I think. Like, Andrei, I think, has been also playing for a long time. Like, most players have, at this point, been playing for years this game now. And this game's really, like, developed. Most of the strategies are kind of figured out. And there's counters to everything, don't get me wrong. Still some players experimenting new things. But, like, a lot of the plays have been figured out what the counter is, right? And you can see, like, they tried to go for a stack and it got countered hard.
Like, you know, if I was playing any of these players, even like I don't know some of them, I would still take them all serious because, I mean, they're here for a reason, right? They were, you know, they're here because they deserve to be here.
Like, even from the... Yeah, this team was divided. Okay, this is going to be GG. Planetary Fortress is going to go down. GG is called, and Godzilla's take game number 2. So now the score is tied 1-1.
Yeah, I haven't seen Raul play that much, and I haven't seen him, obviously, I've seen him play PVZ, so I'm kind of interested to see his strategy, see how well, if he goes Stalker, how well he's able to blink and spread his army.
From what I understand, Raul has been coached by the Kachar himself, so I'm expecting to see great things out of Raul. But let's see how he does it.
Yeah, and I also like how Godzilla team is absolutely mixing and matching every game. It's completely no pattern, unpredictable.
Yeah, they are changing up their strategies, but it does feel like they've kind of like stick to Terrans or Protoss now. Like, you know, PTZ is pretty good formation for them. I think the problem they're maybe having is like Raul can only play Protoss, so that kind of forces them to only choose a variation, like a combination of races that includes the Protoss. But I'm kind of sad that the Mentees have been gone TTZ 3 times in a row, because I do think Thunderhorse can play other races. He's a Zerg mainly, but I do think I've seen him play Terran pretty well and decent and stuff, but if this is what they're feeling confident with, then that's okay as well. But they have to win this one, right? Like, this is a crucial game to win right now in the matchup.
It is. I mean, I think a lot of these players can play all the races fairly well, but I think when it comes down to the tournament, they're going to go with what they feel the most confident with, right? So it is their choice. So, Yeah, I mean, it pretty much just goes down to the player's choice of what they're feeling the most confident with and what's going to contribute the most to their team. And that's about it.
Okay, no T2 coming out of Nedved. Nedved is staying T1 for now. And Drunk kind of had the same idea as Nedved to make the corner units. But Nedved is going to get the better outcome of that engagement. He has the middle, so he's going to give that plus 20 minerals for his team, which is actually very nice. Okay, and Pax isn't gonna reveal what he's doing just yet, but he's very likely, since he's C2, and he's gonna see the mass marine coming out of Andrei, he's very likely just gonna mass ravagers. Okay, and Raul, I've seen this before. This looks okay. No blink back coming out of Raul. He doesn't have blink just yet. But this army positioning kind of looks like the GDSL short that Kachar has, right? Okay, no +1 armor and no blink. So he's just gonna let the stalkers die on the first wave and try to stack on the next wave. But this is gonna be a little bit painful. Now, Nedved hasn't committed to any army just yet. He's still testing the waters, seeing what Drunk is gonna commit to, and Drunk is gonna reveal. Yeah, yeah, Drunk is gonna reveal that he is committing to Marauder Reaper.
Yeah,
that's a lot of damage on the bunker. Oh my god, it's like 20% HP already. That's crazy.
It's like playing with fire, I think. You know, like.
Oh wait, dude, Pax went mass Muta. What a madman! So he did not make. Ravagers, he just went mutas against Terran. And Andrei...
Okay, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, but Andrei had a Raven, and I don't know if the Raven is actually good against anything on the second wave that Zerg can bring out. Like, I'm not sure you want Raven against anything. Okay, and Raul does have +1 armor. He has blink. He's blinking the lings all around. You can see that the lings are not really attacking the stalkers. And Nedved is going to catch. He now reveals that he's indeed gonna go for Mass Marine Reaper. I would like to see him get some Marauders. I don't think Marine Reaper beats Marauder Reaper. Oh, but Drunk?
You know, I don't think blinking into a Marauder Reaper heavy Terran is the call. I think it's more like to go off to the side and turn the wave.
Yeah, it's better to blink on the sides. Usually, you know, get a better concave and make the units start attacking more spread out, so they don't really kill anything really fast. But I think the issue is that Drunk saw that Nedved was not heavy on bio, so he went for Marines to try to counter a T2 from Nedved. When I really would have liked to see him commit even heavier to the Marauder Reaper. I think he would have been able to clear his wave. But he might be also trying just to lose a little bit so that the stalkers don't get all those blink backs. That is also a possibility. And these Ravagers, they're gonna get the bios. Are they gonna land on the Marines? Okay, some Marines go down. Let's see if this is gonna be enough damage. Yeah, I think the real issue... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm not sure if blinking that many stalkers to the front and back is losing more than you're actually gaining. Like, I mean, he's like blinking like 3 stalkers to the front, and then, I mean, they're just kind of falling off like flies. Like, they're just kind of like falling apart like flies. So I'm not sure.
Oh man, look at that! Pax cleaned his wave, left the Reaper alive, and Raul was actually able to stack on that Reaper and get the blink back. So now he's almost next to the cannon. A lot of his stalkers are gonna survive. The mutas from Pax are still alive. The triple stack coming out from the Mentees.
Wow.
And Drunk has only like 7 or 8 sad Marines. They're not gonna be able to clear the mutas. Just the mutas enough are almost able to clear all of the Marines, and this is looking like really good for the Godzilla team. If Raul can just blink on front of this cannon, the cannon is gonna go die, and he does get the blink, and the cannon is gonna go down, and the advantage is looking really good for right now for Godzilla team. Like, game 1 looked very shaky, but game 2 and 3 are looking so far so good for them.
I mean, this was a wild play, I think, that we did not see coming from PAX with this full Muta build. You rarely see that in a ZVT, right? You don't really see mass Muta versus Terran.
I think
I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think Andrei got caught with his pants down. Like I've seen mass Muta before versus Terran, and it's usually good if the Terran isn't massing Marines. And usually the Terrans are kind of scared a little bit to mass Marines because the Zerg can go Ravagers, which is what they usually do. So you don't really want mass Marine against Ravager. But since PAX knows that, then instead of going Ravagers, he went Mutas, which was actually the correct answer here. And I don't like this from Andrei. He's trying to answer the mass Muta with Widow Mines. And the issue with Widow Mines is they need something in front so that they get enough time to shoot their shot, right? And the Mutas and Banes are just going to be able to clear the Widow Mines before they even get a single shot off. So I don't think Widow Mines is the answer to Ling Bane Muta. You really want more Marines than your opponent has Muta Ling Bane.
I agree with that as well, because the problem is that mines can be easily countered with Lings, so they don't hit the Mutalisk. Since Zerglings are very aggressive and they're going to come at the mine, it's going to be easy for them to target them.
Yeah, and I don't really see any stacking army coming right now from the bottom team. Like, you can say maybe Andrei has some Liberators and Ravens and stuff. But look at this, the triple stack once again coming from the Mentees. Is this going to be a really quick game?
It could be.
Okay, but the Nexus is stacking those kills, right? Like, already out 75 kills. It killed so many Marines, man. Really quick work of them. Marines are not good at killing the Nexus at all.
Right, but there's just so many Mutalisks from PAX that I think there's almost no chance they have from stacking a Lib Muta stack.
Okay, that one Queen from Thunderhorse is actually kind of smart because it pulls the Mutas onto the Queen and then all the Ravagers can kind of escape. But it is a double-edged sword because the Mutas right now are still hitting the Nexus and the army now gets like split apart. You can see that all the anti-ground units walk forward while all the anti-air units stayed at the back. So now Raul and Nedved kind of have a chance to deal with the one army first and then the second part of the army. It's like a kind of a divide and conquer strategy, and it works really well here as well.
Yeah, I did like that blink in from Raul to snipe the Ravagers. I did like that earlier. I think Raul's doing a really good job keeping his Stalkers alive. So you can see that his practice has paid off with his gameplay. But these Mutalisks are just...
Yeah,
these Mutalisks are really doing the job. I mean, there's just nothing that can stop them.
Okay, these Disruptors aren't shooting just yet. Okay, no Swarm Host. So the Disruptors, actually, they get 3 kills each on 3 Ravagers. So that's 420 minerals worth of damage for 250. Like, that's such a great trade for Raul.
And then now we see the what you were talking about, the PT stack on the Zerg. It's just a devastating thing to your team. Is like when that PT stack happens, it's so difficult to stop.
Okay, Disruptors on their second shot, so they land even more kills, though 9 and 10 kills on these Disruptors. Absolutely amazing job from Raul. He's managing to land all of the Disruptor shots, even when there's Widow Mine. So that's really good high-level execution play coming out of him. I'm really impressed so far with what I'm seeing from him.
Well, the Ravagers missed the Mutalist. This could be game right here.
Yeah, this is like 24, 30 something Mutas. Yeah, the Nexus is gonna go down. GG is called, and the triple stack gets the job done. Man, PAX coming strong.
That was very cool. Like, that was just a completely... I mean... I didn't see any of that. That came from left field, that one.
Oh, actually, very interesting. So this is something we talked about. So we said that the Mentees are going to go TTP, Terran Protoss, instead of Terran Zerg. But we never talked about what player is going to play the Protoss, right? And it's gonna be Thunderhorse with the Protoss. Now, I've seen Thunderhorse play more Terran Zerg than I've seen him playing Toss, so I wonder how well he's gonna execute. But we also haven't seen Pax play against the Zerg. Play Zerg versus Protoss. So I'm very curious to see that lane. I think it's gonna be very important. Will Pax be able to clear Thunderhorse, or will Thunderhorse be able to stack? Now let's see, we got some instant T2 coming out from Nedved, so he's gonna go back to his original roots, and he's gonna play Raven Lib. Okay, very standard play from Raul, just 3 Adept opener with 1 Sentry. That's literally the most standard of standard openings in Protoss versus Terran. Okay, and Thunderhorse has some nice positioning here with the Stalkers.
So basically, for the bottom team, they want to keep the Stalkers aggressive. They don't want to push them hard because the Stalkers can almost do nothing in the middle of the battlefield, right? There's nothing to blink and protect them from the Ling attack. So I think the goal here for the bottom team is to keep the Stalkers away from that bunker so they can take them out.
Yeah, you don't want the Stalkers close to the bunker. The bunker really helps kill those Lings. But Thunderhorse is just going to skip wave number 1. He's not going to get, I believe, any upgrades. Yeah, he has no upgrades. So he is just going to skip the first wave and attempt to stack on the second wave. Raul is going to be able to clear this no problem. So we do have a very clear path coming out from the Mentees, right? Like, there's Protoss at the back, there's Marines at the front for Andrei, the orange Terran. So it's very clear what they're going to do. So for the first time, I see them playing a little bit more proactive than reactive. I'm really glad to see that. But I think it's also because of the matchup, right? Like, this is such an easy matchup to plan.
So I like what the bottom team is doing here with Nedved teching, because even if he leaks, this will keep the Stalkers in the middle of the battlefield, which is where you want them.
I don't know. I don't really like going Lib Raven, like, because you're making the Protoss stack even harder is the issue. Like, you see so many Stalkers are alive, and this is so many Marines together. This is what, 7 Stalkers with like, what, 29 Marines against this poor Protoss army from Raul. Like, the Adepts are shooting Stalkers. Like, this is gonna be a very easy clear. So no, I gotta say I don't like the Lib Raven because I think it's so easy to blink back and take no damage from it.
Well, one thing is that it looks like the top team is all T1. So, I mean, that opens up cloaked units if they're all T1.
Yeah, you are right.
This is what I'm talking about right here. I think this is good because, I mean, the bunker, the cannon is taking damage, but the Protoss is not close enough to this, their cannon for it to protect them from the Zerglings. So the Zerglings can kind of reign free here.
Yeah, but you only need a couple of Stalkers to survive to be able to really just completely destroy the Protoss in the next wave. So we get the Stalkers to blink front. The Adepts are shooting at the Stalkers, not at the Terran. Now, there is no scan, so that is kind of an issue. But let's see if he's going to be able to clear. Only 2 sad Stalkers left alive, so yep, that is going to be indeed a clear.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult matchup. I mean, no doubt either way, but I'm saying that's about as much as they could probably do.
The top team or the bottom team?
The bottom team.
Mm.
I mean, I'm just saying the most they can do is just keep those Stalkers in the middle of the battlefield so they can't really harness the full cannon on their side. But it's just an incredibly difficult matchup, you know.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's like, okay, yeah, they're so far they haven't let the bunker contribute, but at the same time they still haven't been able to really stop the strategy coming out from the top team. So the reaction from the bottom team is just not enough right now. So Godzilla's team is, you know, just getting wrecked by the strategy coming from the Mentees.
Yeah, like I would have liked to see maybe an earlier lurker or a cloaked unit, but it's too late now because now we have a T2 from Drunk, and then it looks like Thunderhorse is just going tier 2, so like the cloak option is not there.
Yeah, and Pax has no Ravagers either, so even though 2 from their team went T2, yeah, like you said, they didn't really abuse the fact that their opponents were all team 1. And at the same time, Pax is going Hydra Muta, so no Ravagers, and you really need some bios to land on some of these army for the next wave to be able to clear. Now the huge issue that they have right now is that the wave that the PT is stacking on, it's stacking on a Protoss, so the Protoss really has no real good tool to be able to deal with this.
Yeah, I'd also like to see possibly some fungals. Something to kind of soften up that Terran bio.
Yeah, the only issue with fungals is like once you get an infestor out, suddenly the Protoss is like, oh baby, it's balding time, and they get some disruptors, and it's just, they have just such a great time. Now we do get to see the infestor actually. So as you were saying, like there is an infestor now. But the Protoss is gonna see this, and Thunderhorse is probably going to. Let's see how he's gonna respond. I would say he's gonna go T2 or Mass Zealot first, and then at T2. But so far he hasn't responded with that.
That was a good fungal there.
Okay, now a fungal on the bio could be absolutely devastating, and it does land.
That was a good fungal. He just got it barely in time.
Yeah, but I gotta say, man, like this is so many stalkers. This is 13 stalkers. Like even Raul doesn't have that many stalkers. But actually, I think I'm seeing a pattern coming here from the bottom team, right? Like they're protecting their bunker, and I see like they're trying to go for a TC stack quietly, right? Like I think these libs are more for preparing for the late game than anything else. They might as well. I think they just gave up the early games. Like, okay, there's absolutely no way we're gonna be able to deal with this Protoss Terran stack. So they're just trying to go for the Terran Zerg stack from their side. Okay, like I was saying, Thunderhorse, he says he sees the infestor. He says like it's time to go balling. Let's get some disruptors. Let's deal with these infestors. Okay, nice blink as well from Thunderhorse. Blink in front. He catches the infestor. Really good play.
This could actually be dangerous later on in the game because Pax is starting to build up his mutas, and Nedved has a lot of liberators. It's possible they could stack this in this game pretty heavy. I mean, they have the recipe for it, right?
Yes, I agree, but it would be so much better for Nedved's team if the Protoss was the one on the first lane instead of the one on the third lane. Like, the issue I see that they're having is like the Protoss is getting, Raul is just getting massacred.
He is, but I mean, look how many liberators we have here. We have 5 liberators.
Okay, infestors disruptors, sorry, miss. That's really bad. But the stalkers, like even if the liberator stack, the problem is that they can't. Fungal. Like even if the liberator stack, the issue is that the liberators can't really deal with the stalkers because the stalkers can just blink around and not really get damaged. Okay, now let's see these disruptor shots. Are they gonna land? And so far, these are decent disruptors. 8 kills, 5 kills.
Good.
They're pretty good, yeah. But the liberator is standing strong.
Really good play, right? Wow.
Really good play. But the liberator is standing strong still. Oh no, Drunk used all his turrets.
Oh, those disruptors got a second shot. Oh boy. This is a very exciting fight here.
I think Nedved is gonna be able to turn it around. I don't know if Drunk has enough to clean this. And now Pax
There it is.
And now Pax is going to be able to catch with Ling Muta. And these disruptors, oh no, Thunderhorse just skipped on the Zealots and Archons. And you do need Zealot Archon to be able to deal with this Ling Muta. But Thunderhorse is just sticking to mass Stalkers, and I don't think it's being enough right now. Okay, now, this is a dangerous wave, so Raul has to land these disruptors, and he has 4 of them. But he has to land these. Let's see, I think these are a little bit too late. He's kind of waiting to shoot on the Widow Mines first.
Oh, that last one didn't connect.
Yeah, so the disruptor shots weren't there. He needed perfect disruptors, and it just weren't there.
This is a very exciting game right here.
Well, like, a couple of disruptor shots could have turned this game around completely. But he did miss. Like, it's hard to land the disruptor shots perfectly, right? Like, not even the top players can land perfect disruptor shots consistently. Not an easy feat to do at all, so it's not like I'm throwing shade at Raul. But some perfect disruptors would have just turned this game around completely.
So I think what's going to be interesting to see is when Nedved gets T3 Liberators, and they're playing back. How's that gonna work? Because that is a lot of Mutalisks.
Yeah, but Andrei's kind of getting ready. He's getting, Drunk is kind of getting ready. He's getting Vikings. And the Vikings are really going to be good at preventing that from happening, but I think they kind of missed their window, to be honest.
I mean, I really think this game, Nedved and the Mutalisks, Raven, all that, they can come back for sure.
Okay, and this might be the wave they do it. 5 Liberators still alive. A lot of Ling Muta is gonna catch. No Bane though, so the turrets are gonna stand strong. You do need some Banes to be able to deal with the turrets. And there is enough Marines still standing. The Mutas are all dying. The Infestors are dying. Everything is dying. The Vikings are still standing strong. They're just dancing around. Okay, we see some disruptor wars going on. There's casualties on both sides. Oh wow, Thunderhorse feeling ballsy, going front.
Okay, this could be very dangerous for the top team. This is going to be a really well.
Actually, this might be Nexus. Actually, can Thunderhorse blink front? He's not blinking front or away from the Nexus.
If they don't kill the Nexus here, this is going to be a big problem for them. Oh boy, look at this.
Yeah, now this is 2 full waves against the poor Drunk. And Drunk has Vikings, and these Vikings are going to be absolutely awful against the Mutas. Like, you do not want Vikings against Mutas. You can see that
no.
Vikings may be anti-air, but
this is a real dangerous stack right here.
okay, good Storms. He has Archons now, so he's kind of getting the answer to these Mutas, which I really like.
Oh, there's a Thor. See how much... Okay, I'd like to see a blink underneath those Liberators. Oh, protect the Liberators. Oh, no.
Okay, Andrei's wave is dead. There's barely any... He barely has any units still standing. And Raul is finally going to be able to clean his wave. Or maybe
I know,
not.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if like Nedved gets that kind of positioning, man, that was like super positioning by Nedved there. Like they had to kill the cannon on that wave.
And they almost got the Nexus, right? Like it was very close. It was like a 300 HP left, but no
it was
dice.
Super good. This is really scary. Oh wow.
Yeah, the Vikings from Drunk, well, they're good at cleaning Lib Raven. They're not really good against the Mutas. And once those Mutas catch up to Nedved's wave, the Vikings are just turned completely useless. So I think that's where the Vikings are like the worst at, if there's a Zerg follow-up. These Liberators, man, they all have like 12, 10 kills each. That's an insane amount of value for these Libs.
Yeah, and this is Nedved's game.
Oh, interesting play from Raul. He used his disruptors on the bunker. I think you could have saved a few for Drunk's wave. because now
That was a bit overkill. I don't know if that was the play right there. But right now, at this point, this is Nedved's game right here. Like this is where Nedved is devastating.
Yeah,
with his Raven.
this is usually where he likes to play, like, right? Like, this is the army composition that he likes. And it's Liberators going up against the Stalker wave, and you can see the Archons just completely melting, man. Like, they're all gone. The High Templars are gone. Just all of the high-tech units from Thunderhorse are completely gone. Only the Stalkers are still standing. And the Stalkers at this point, man, we're at the 16-minute mark almost. Those Stalkers are just completely garbage at this point.
I think Raul is going to need some anti-air.
But he doesn't even need to, right? He just needs to clean the ground, and then he can let Nedved clean the air units, right? Like, he doesn't even...
Because, yeah, that's correct, yep.
Like, he doesn't even care about the Liberators surviving, because the Liberators aren't going to do anything against Nedved's wave, so he can just completely ignore them.
Yeah, Nedved has like the last army, like 1,000 Ravens. Gosh.
I would like to see some scan ahead from Nedved. I think if he scanned ahead, he could have sieged a lot further away. But it doesn't matter. The Mutas catch, the Lings catch is already Ultras out. Yeah, man.
I mean, Apax pretty much has the 2 units that are just ideal for catching libs, Zerglings and Mutas, right? They're both very...
He has them by the buttloads.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Disruptor shots all missing, so they all get 0 kills. One of them gets 2, 1, 1. Just awful Disruptor shots this wave. But it doesn't matter. The damage has already been done by Nedved. Raul doesn't need to do a whole lot anymore.
Those Templars just disabled all those Ravens.
Yeah, now Drunk has Ravens with no energy, which is basically flying rocks. They do absolutely nothing. While Nedveds are almost full energy.
Yeah, this is where you do not want Nedved to be if you're against him. Is Lib Raven past the center of that amount. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, no, this is looking really bad for the Mentees. I think, like, if you have a Protoss, you want to get your advantage in the first 5 minutes, which they, to be fair, like, they had during the advantage for, like, the first 10 minutes. But then that one wave where they didn't manage to kill the Nexus, Nedved just stacked really, really heavily. And after that, they just wrecked the whole time afterwards.
I mean, Nedved was really deep in the back, and that was, I mean, that was pretty much a do or die moment right there, in my opinion. I mean, look at how many Ravens Nedved has now. It's like, that is a lot of Ravens.
Yeah, and like the issue is like Thunderhorse is still trying to blink back the Stalkers, but then every time he does that, all of his high-tech units just die, right? Like all the Archons die, all the Disruptors die, all the High Templars, the Sentries, they all go down to the Liberators. So no real good unit comes out there. And even though he's stacking Stalkers with Andrei, Andrei's wave is just too small.
It's really not much Thunder can do in this position because the Lib Raven is just too devastating to Protoss. It's like really, there's like nowhere you can hide, right? It's like where you can run but you can't hide kind of thing.
Okay, Disruptors miss completely. 0.
Yeah, there's 0 connects there.
Well, one of them got 7 kills, to be fair. But all the other ones got 0 kills. But it doesn't matter, again. He has enough Immortals, he's dealing with the Thors, and the rest of the units he just doesn't care about. And the problem is that the follow-up is a Protoss on high-tech ground units. And high-tech ground units, completely awful against Liberators.
I look at Pax. Pax is already on his 3rd gas, feeling really confident.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, 3 gas.
3 gas before your teammates get a 2nd gas. Kind of greedy. Very, very greedy.
See, these libs are on to attack. 3 armor. They're going to be very hard to kill. Oh boy.
Okay, let's see the disruptor shots. They land on the Thors. They kind of weaken all of the Thors. They only kill like 1 or 2, but they weaken all of them. And even the storms are good enough right now. Like the feedbacks on the Ravens are out of energy. Okay, I like to see this. Pax is even microing his Infestor, because Infestors don't really fungal Thors, so you can tell that he's doing manually, which is very good play coming out there from Pax. Good execution.
And we got three Thors from Nedved. This is
dude. Look at Nedved's Raven count. It's 20 Ravens. 20.
Wow. He's just spamming them.
Okay, and if the Ravens get their turrets out, this could be a game right here, right now. The Thor is still attacking. The Mutas are still there. And yep, the Planetary Fortress is gonna go down. GG is called, and a Raully Peaceful Godzilla with a shaky start, but a nice play after that with a 3-1 score.
I have to say, this was probably the most exciting game I've casted yet, because that was just I don't know. It was like a very intense game. Because I mean, I at that point when the
hey guys,
Mentee team hit, I didn't know what was gonna happen. Hey, so
Joe, Nova, you here?
Yeah,
I'm here, man. That was a heck of a game, man.
Where's the rest of your team? Raul's here. Where's Pax?
Yeah, Pax is Pax here?
No.
No.
Yeah, I guess no. Raul is here and Pax is, I don't know, maybe coming, maybe not. Yeah, it was a nice series, and I enjoyed winning some games with Bio as well.
Yeah, no, I have a couple questions I want to ask you guys. But first, before we start that, congratulations for winning the first round of the tournament. You guys were up against a really strong team, right? Like, all the players on the opponent's team were really strong. So, congratulations for getting the job done in what seemed like to be an unfavored matchup. I first want to start asking Raul. Raul, man, you were doing some really good disruptor shots. But I saw, like, as a Protoss, right? Like, you're usually struggling after the first 5 minutes, right? Which is normal. Like, it's really hard as a toss. But you must have put a lot of trust in your teammates to play so confidently, like ignoring Liberators and stuff like that. So I just want to hear what it felt like from your perspective, because it felt like you were losing every round until Nedved won afterwards, right? Like, so how does it feel from your perspective?
I could not kill the Libs, so I was just ignoring them, killing the Thors, getting some storms to feed back the Ravens. And then once I destroyed all the Thors of my wave, I went to the other Terran wave and I killed also some of his Thors most of the times. So it was really helping my team, you know. And when I could get the feedback on the Ravens, it was fine. Like, we managed to win all the waves.
Yeah, well, good job, man, because you got the job done. Also, Nedved. Even the games where you go Bio, you kind of still go Ravens, man. Like, I'm looking at the game number 2. It's like, okay, you were Bio, and then you're like, okay, screw this. I'm selling all. I'm going Mass Raven, and it actually ended up getting the job done because you just didn't care about the lib stack. So can you talk to us a little bit about your perspective of that?
Notes? You mean the game 2? Who sold game 2? Sorry, refresh my memory a bit.
You sold.
Did I sell? I didn't sell. I
sold. You sold some Bio, right?
I sold. No. I was Reaper. I was Reaper Marauder, and then I sold the Reapers. And because he was 0 and 1 on, isn't that the game he sold as well?
Yes.
Okay. So no, okay, he sold, and then I went. I saw he was 0 and 1 in upgrades, and I scanned him once, and because I thought he was gonna sell that wave, but he didn't. And then I was sure I actually told him it would be better if he spent the additional 100 and get 1-1 because it wouldn't be so obvious then. And then I started massing ravens because I knew the air cell was coming, and. And yeah, then I managed to there was a couple of stacks where it seemed dangerous, but apparently I think the cell discrepancy, him selling his whole army and me having the correct answer to the cell he did, ended up, them not being able to break through, even though it was a bit scary. I have to rewatch it, a couple of waves there, but generally. It was a must-win game for us, and we did well that game.
Yeah, and the other game I want to talk about is that game number 3. I wonder, because I gotta congratulate you guys for being proactive the whole match, right? Like, the whole match, it seems like you guys were dictating the terms of the game. Like, it didn't go well game number 1, but it did seem like you guys were the proactive team, while the other team was more like reactive. They were like more reacting to what you guys were doing. So, that game number 3, I gotta ask, like, did you guys decide that as a team, or did Pax go Rambo with those mass mutas against Terran?
Yes, that was fun, but it worked, right?
Yeah, but did you guys plan it together, or was that like Pax going like off himself, like, I'm just gonna go mass muta here?
No, so this was actually how it went down. So we were discussing what was he going to go, and as we both planned to go PT, Bio, and Stalkers. Was that game 3? I think it was. Yeah, it was the game we had the Protoss on Zerg blinking. And then I wanted to ask Pax if he wants to go Ravager, and then he said no. And he wanted to go Queens, and I said no, you will not go Queens, because if he goes Air, or even if he bios you down, it's just. And then he said Mass Muta, and I said okay, it's okay. And then I said if he makes any Marauders or Reapers or something and they fly under, then Raul can get a blink off of it, and it did end up happening. He blinked. He got the first blink off of the Reaper, I think, and then he got the second blink off, and we were able to tag there. And I went full Marines, expecting the stack, and then we went for the variant where he does blink in, and we rely on the Stim Marines to just DPS everything down. And that's how it ended up going down. And then we took the 2-1 advantage. And it's a really comfortable position to be in a best of 5. That was the key game where we won the Pig Bang Gamble, and Raul actually called it. And he said he actually sniffed out exactly their thought process throughout the series. And so congratulations to Raul being stepping up and being actually better than me at anticipating it.
Yeah. Raul's play was really good the whole time, and before I'll let you go soon, Joe. Like I'll let you talk. I just want to say this one thing. It's like, yeah, the mass muta call, man. Andrei just like didn't know how to respond to it. It seemed like he was like trying to go Raven. He had Widow Mines. He had like all these different things and libs and Ravens, and I felt like nothing was working. And you guys got the triple stack, so it was like Muta, Stalkers, Bio. It was so crazy. Like congratulations on that game. Joe, I'll let you go now. Talk.
So I gotta say, so far, from casting games, I think the last game and the game before that were like two of probably the most exciting games, because I really like. I wasn't expecting the Mutalist to come out, and we were talking about when we were watching the game, and we are like, those mutas are going to be such a problem, because the next wave has just no way of dealing with them, which was splitting up the Zerg army.
Yeah, the Ravagers.
It was just very awkward, and I like to see that kind of play, like not just kind of the usual kind of like, meta play. I like those like curveballs right there. And then the last game, I knew like when they were at your Nexus, I was saying this is do or die. Like if they do not kill,
I said exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. He says we either Ned, you either stack here or we're dead. And I thought we were dead. It was a huge army, and but we managed to stack there and then take the game.
I was just like sitting there like, oh shoot, because I didn't know, because I was like, that was a lot of bio, Ravens and all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, I'm just saying, yeah, if Nedved stacks in this position, I mean, I've seen you do it before, and I'm like, that's going to be really difficult for them to stop, because you were just like, just at that run like point, where it was like,
yeah. It was really a nail biter, and I was actually I thought we were dead. And actually, he had a lot of Marines and no Marauders, so it ended up helping us because the DPS wasn't as high. And and actually the problem was that when I spawned, they were in our faces, and then I needed to siege the libs fast and deploy the turrets, and I couldn't do it manually, and then I just needed to let the turrets go, and the first turret wave wasn't far enough, and that's where we were in big trouble. If there were Marauders there, they would have just gunned down the base.
Well, we thought you were dead as well.
yeah, we did. We were talking about it, and you know, your whole team played well. You know, I think Raul was, you know, stacking really well with his stalkers. He had really solid Protoss play, and I think Pax really showed up and just showed that, you know, that his experience. So, you know, everybody played well together.
All right, so I gotta ask this one final question, which I always ask. So I'm gonna ask it to you guys. Who would you rather play against, Shadow Crows or Fatal Error?
Sorry, tell me what teams that they are.
Okay, that's a fair.
Which players?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so Shadow Crows is Temilian, Pew Pew, and Readout, and Fatal Error is BG, Torgi, and Skydancer.
Yeah, I'd like to book a date with my old friend and Pew Pew in the what's it, the round of 4 now?
It's the upper bracket semifinals.
Yeah, okay, so the round of 4 upper bracket. Yeah, I think that's actually going to be quite an exciting match. I'm gonna watch that for sure. I can maybe even cast it. And yeah, I would prefer to play Readout, Pew Pew, and Temilian, because I think that would be exciting. But also the other team, yeah, I kind of think BG is really good, and yeah, I sometimes have the feeling he does really well in games and can add the value to a team. But yeah, man, those were really intense games. I really needed to perform in certain waves, and it was more than once I thought we were gonna lose. But this game, the last game where Drunk went heavy on the Ravens, and at one point he had like 5-6 Ravens with bio, and I had like a lot of libs, and there I thought I fucked up, and oh sorry, I
you can say that.
there I thought I messed up because he was gonna Raven my libs, but ended up kind of unsieging and sieging and stacking them, and then it went good because the Protoss was the next wave, and there were some Archons and Disruptors, and I just did heavy damage to that wave, and they weren't able to utilize the PVZ blink on Zerg's situation as much. So yeah.
Okay, well,
I gotta say this. I'd like to say this one thing. I did have like a slight favor for the opposite team. I just think because their team maybe have a little bit overall more experience than your team. So I was kind of like leaning a little bit more to their side, but I believe that both sides can definitely win, and to see you guys pull off that win was just, I think it was really impressive. I have to say.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I was pleased with that win for sure. And the problem with their team. I mean, the good thing about their team was Drunk for sure, who was the maybe prize player in pot 3. But when I got Raul, I was actually quite confident because I knew he was a good blinker, and that always works well with somebody who likes to play Terran Air like me. and even for the PT stacks with the bio, it's good. And then yeah, Pax is just overall knows the game and can play bio, can play Zerg apparently, as he demonstrated. And yeah, we're not as weak maybe as perceived at first.
Okay, well, I didn't want to drag this too long, so congratulations and good luck on the next one. And we're gonna end the stream here. So bye, everyone.
Yes, and
Bye.
congratulations from EJ. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thanks, guys. Hope you had fun casting it. I had fun playing it, and see you on the battlefield and in the next. Where are you guys playing? When are you guys playing?
To be determined.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And why is that kind of favoritism? You can drag it out. What is the deadline to play the round of 8?
Well, we can talk about that after I end the stream. So okay.
Okay. I got you.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Take care.